So, having a conversation last night with a old Army buddy of mine I used to serve with down in Central America, and we were talking about a lot of different unrelated subjects, and we ended up getting around to this and bounced a few ideas off of him about what might have gone on and how the Navy was handling it. And he brought up an excellent point, and it just goes to the difference between his job description and mine. He was a 98 Charlie, which 98C was the designation at that time for information analyst. I was an interrogator, so I was a little bit more on the human side of it, where he would just be looking at the bigger picture. And what struck him as strange was that they would have allowed a Navy admiral to go out and release that statement so quickly. It didn't seem to him that it would have even had time to clear whatever the Navy equivalent of S2 is. And I'll leave that to somebody down in the description. I could look it up on Google if I wanted to, but S2 is the Army designation for the intelligence center that clears all statements that go out to the public. You don't let just random people go out and start yapping about events and operations and things that go on in the military, because they might unintentionally reveal something to the enemy that's critical. So all this gets cleared, and when accidents happen, they happen all the time. In the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and there's templates that you go by and procedures that are followed every single time. And I'll bet I have this up here on the screen just as an example. With all of the issues they've had with the Osprey, I'm very sure they have a template for exactly how to release the information, when, to who, and what is said. And you can see it down here in the different statements that came out. Here's the one from the 3rd MEF. Talks about search and rescue continuing. It says where the MV-22 was assigned, the ships, and you can look through there, and it's pretty standard stuff. And that's how it's handled. Once again, and with this one, the KC-130, you go down here, and twice as many people were killed in this one as aboard the Fitzgerald. And here you see it. You go down, and no press conferences, no microphones, no questions from reporters. Following is a statement from Marine Corps Special Operations Command, and it gives you, the identities of the service members whose lives are lost, are being withheld, allow time for notification, thoughts and prayers. It says who, what, when, where, how, and that's pretty much it. And here's Marine Force Reserve, same thing. Commander of Marine Forces Reserve, Marine Force North, Marine Corps Headquarters. All this stuff is all ready to go. This is what they do, and this is how accidents are handled. And I pulled up this list, and these are all aircraft accidents, but you can go back through here and you can click on any one of these, and you will not find any links to any press conferences. And that's the first thing that stuck out to me. The channel was dedicated to, my wheelhouse is Central American, South American human intelligence. That's what I did. That was my job. That's what I wanted the channel to be. 50-some days ago, when I started this with the Fitzgerald, I had 700 subscribers, did a video every couple days, a few hundred views, happy as a clam. And honestly, the reason I jumped on this when I did was because I saw the military doing something to 7 sailors that shouldn't be done to any serviceman. And I'll say this right now, if the U.S. Navy, military, whomever is in charge of this, would relent, give these 7 guys the Purple Hearts they deserve, give that guy who went down and dove down to get the guys back and died doing that, he gets no less than the Silver Star. And we find 7 new stones out in Arlington, I'll relent. I absolutely will relent. That's all they have to acknowledge, is that those 7 sailors died as an act of either terrorism or war. And to give you an idea, you saw the statements from the thing with the Osprey and the thing with the KC-130. Now let me show you what they did with the Fitzgerald. And this is going to be a little 3-minute clip. So here we go.
Alexandra Field, CNN. First of all, our condolences to all those who are grieving the community and the family members today. This is delicate, this is sensitive right now. We understand that. Is there anything that you can share about the circumstances that those sailors were facing in those moments down in those berthing areas? Do we know if these sailors were awake at the time of the collision, if they were awake afterward, if they tried to escape? And also, if you could just very briefly give us the mechanics of this crash. Are we talking about a T-bone, a side swiping? Were there any calls for help in advance or any efforts to avoid a collision?
Okay. Thanks for your comments there. So it was at 2:20 in the morning.
That's
we do
wrong.
have watch teams that are awake throughout the night, but a significant part of the crew was sleeping. And as I said before, 2 compartments that house 116 of the crew are in those compartments. And it was a significant impact to the side of the ship. And you can't see most of the damage. The damage is mostly underneath the waterline, and it's a large gash near the keel of the ship. And so the water flow was tremendous. And so there wasn't a lot of time in those spaces that were open to the sea. And as you can see now, the ship is still listing. And so they had to fight the ship to keep it above the surface. So it was traumatic. As to how much warning they had, I don't know. That's going to be found out during the investigation. But it was a significant impact that the crew had to fight very hard to keep the ship afloat.
And on the mechanics of the crash itself, sideswipe, T-bone, calls for help, efforts to maneuver to avoid it.
I don't know those kind of things, but it was a significant impact to the side of the ship. In order to get a puncture like that, I'll just leave that they were hit on the side by the tanker, a 29,000-ton merchant freighter.
Is the commander stable enough to answer any questions?
He was medevaced. His cabin was destroyed. He's lucky to be alive, and he's at the hospital right now. He's undergoing treatment, but he's not available for questions.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's an example of exactly what you don't do. This is an example of exactly why the U.S. military has S2. To clear this crap. So much intelligence was revealed there that it just almost makes me nauseous watching it. And just to be clear, this is 18 June. This happened on 17 June. There is no way, unless this dude standing right back here is intelligence, that this was cleared. I just, like I said, it's been a long time since I've been in the military, but I know when I was in, there is no way that amount of information, specific, detailed information like that, would have been released the next day about where the captain's cabin is, about where a third of the crew sleeps, about... it's just beyond mind-boggling. This isn't a week later that he's done this. This is the next day. This right here on YouTube is 7th Fleet, 18 June. Right there. So that just gives you an indication of how absolutely strange and over-the-top strange this is. And like I've said before, this press conference is 99.995% of the reason that the channel has taken the turn away from South Central American activities to this, because there is just absolutely no way that this is normal. So anyway, probably in the next week or so we're going to go back to the issues in South Central America, basically because that is what I know, and that is what my wheelhouse was in the military. So just to give you kind of a preview there, this is getting bad in Venezuela. It really, really is. And Maduro is about as bad a dude as you can probably have in the position he's in. But what he said here, the anti-government forces based in Miami and Colombia, believe me, he's not lying. He is absolutely not lying. There are some people that would absolutely love to see Venezuela fall apart, and if it would, pray for the folks in Panama. That's all I'm going to say. That the canal zone right there is ripe right now. They don't have the U.S. has largely left militarily down there. The Panamanians have only a very Spartan small group of people charged with local security. They don't have a military to deal with any major invasion or any major problem. And if I'm not sure it would come from the Colombians, but if the Venezuelans want to, they could take Panama tomorrow. And that it's primarily held now between the Panamanian government, which is now becoming a puppet of the Chinese. It could cause headaches in the United States like you would not believe, but I will just leave that there. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, very much. I am humbled by the amount of people that have come here with a polite, intelligent, thoughtful, informed conversation. Like I said, when I started, 733 subscriptions on 17 June, and now we're pushing 6,000. So anyway, I will see you next time. Thank you.